guys, I'm back today. I have an exciting guest. I'm looking forward to getting to know him. He was referred to me from Heather, which was a previous podcast we did, Heather Grizzard, and she just spoke really highly of Kasey Blueford. So I had to have him on, and I'm just really honored that you decided to come on the podcast today, Kasey. Thank you so much.
Sarah, thank you so much. And you know what? I need to actually listen to that. I need to get some of those compliments and from Heather to kind of pat myself on the back a little bit. And those days are a little bit tough when I feel like I'm in the mud of some things. So I appreciate you all in all for inviting me, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, that's awesome to always get a kudos from somebody, one of your peers, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know very little about you. I saw on your Facebook profile that you are into business acquisitions, but you're also a member of the Pace Morby community. Are you in sub 2, Gator, and TC, or start off and tell us what you're into?
Yeah. So I am I call it the Holy Trinity of Paces
All three.
community. So yeah, so I joined, I actually joined Gator first because it was the easy entry,
Yeah.
financially. I learned a little bit more about it, and then ended up joining Sub 2. And
Cool.
then ultimately, after some months in Sub 2 and really enjoying myself, I felt that I wanted to learn a little bit more. Then I joined top tier TC, which I felt that was more equipped for my skill set.
Got it.
And after joining those three, about 3 to 6 months down the road, after I felt like I had a good grasp of everything, I kind of paused real estate altogether and went into the business acquisition space. So we could definitely talk
Cool.
about that more sometime.
Heck yes. No, we're going to talk about that today, if you're cool with it.
Absolutely. I love talking about it.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So first, before we get into it, I'd love to hear a little bit more about who is Kasey and just bring us up to modern day.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am I'm a California transplant. So I reside now in Dallas, Texas. So been
Cool.
out here. Me and my family been out here for a little over a year and a half. So
I-
it's been different. I'm not going to say it's been good or just bad. It's just definitely been different. And
Yeah.
being forced to rebuild a new community of people,
Mhm.
new comfort, well, sorry, lack thereof comforts, new environments.
Yeah.
Just it's different when you're child and in early teens. You have like this circle, this bubble of comfort with your family and friends, or area that
Yeah.
you've been in. So now being a father of two, so I have two little ones.
Oh,
Those are my daily inspirations, and
nice.
hopefully they don't come busting in this room any
That's all
longer now.
right if they do.
But yeah, so that's my motivation. That's why I do what I do. So I've always worked W-2 jobs, so I've held positions with Target, with Adidas, with Amazon for long stints. And now
Nice.
currently I moved out to Dallas, took a role with Southwest Airlines. So I've
Very
always,
cool.
yeah, so I mean, there's definitely a good company for the most part. There's more better than perks more than anything, right? So it's still
Yeah.
corporate America, 'cause I've always held like corporate type jobs and everything that I've done. So yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell. So I mean, my kids are my motivation. I love pretty simple. I love all things sports, all things music, all things travel.
Nice.
Yeah, so I try to try now in a position. I try to make sure that I'm sharing some of those things with my little ones.
Of course. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so a couple of questions, just curiosity stuff. Where in California are you from?
I am from Sacramento, California.
Oh,
So I have to remind people that we are the capital of California. Very much, I'm sure the people in Austin have to do the same thing.
yeah.
Just remind, like, we are the capital. We're still the capital. So I'm from Sacramento. I went to school in San Diego. So I graduated from San Diego State with my bachelor's. And then
Nice.
I graduated from Chico State, which is another college in Northern California, with my master's in business administration.
Awesome. Okay. And then is this your first big move?
First big move, the family, yes. So
Yeah, I'm with you
I've
too.
lived, yeah. So I lived in San Diego a couple times, during school, then post school. I lived in Chicago for a quick stint, sometime in the Bay Area. But this is the biggest move because it's me and others, versus just
Yeah.
two bags. When I moved to Chicago, it was just 2 duffel bags, and I'm like, all right, let's do this, right? So,
Nice, nice.
but
Yeah.
now, having to pack up a whole house, move a whole household and vehicles and whatnot. This is definitely the
It
biggest
was
move.
a big one. It was a big
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Okay. And then the culture differences between California and Texas. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely there. I mean, where we live in Plano, Texas, which is very similar to kind of like the California feel of things.
Okay. I
So
didn't
the
know that.
transition, yeah, so the transition hasn't been as crazy. I'm definitely not out in the country and boots and straps
Mm.
and whatnot. It's very it's been a smoother transition than we thought and ultimately
Good.
expected.
Good, good, good. Okay. Well, that makes me happy for you. Yeah, I just did a big move myself. I don't have family. It's just myself and my dog, but but I did move from Idaho to Florida. So that was a big one.
That's a
Yeah.
difference too.
Yeah.
That's a difference too. What part of Florida, if you don't mind me asking?
No, not at all. I'm in Ocala area.
Ocala, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a horse lover. So of course I had to
Okay.
choose Ocala. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome though. That's awesome.
yeah.
You
So yeah,
liking
we're
it?
in this, yeah, I love it. And we're just in similar boats, it sounds like, as far as like just getting used to all the changes, and
It is.
it's fun though. I like
Yeah.
adventure. I like changing things up. So
Yeah, I think it's funny because I was actually just did an episode about this the other day. I think there's something to be said about change and like restructuring like your whole environment. I think there's definitely a struggle to it. But ultimately, I think that it hardens you, and it ultimately expands your potential impact.
yeah.
And so I think there's just definitely something to be said about it. I think the easiest thing to do is to kind of stay where you are, and the challenging thing to do is to step out and step in faith.
Yeah, there you go. Step in faith. That's exactly how I feel. And then, for me, it was like hitting a reset button. Like I used to have long hair. My whole entire life I've had long hair. Chopped it all
Oh,
off, like as short as you can
okay,
get.
okay. We
Just
switching all the way up.
yeah, complete just reset button on life, and it gives you just a new fresh perspective. So
Love it. I
it's
love it.
kind of fun. But okay, so now I'm super curious. So you're obviously very busy because you're working a corporate job still. And you took all those courses with Pace Morby Community. It sounds kind of like me. I haven't signed up for sub 2 yet, but I also am a Gator and a TC. And then the business acquisitions, kind of the same thing in the sense that I didn't even think about that until I interviewed Darren Yee.
Well, that's you interview Darren.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Darren is he's kind of molded and grown into like my mentor.
that's awesome. I
Yeah,
feel the same way about him.
yeah.
I yeah, I got really excited after our interview. I'm like,
That's awesome.
this,
I gotta text him about that too, because it's funny how 6 degrees of separation. I have to be like, texting and be like, guess who I talked to today? So that's awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome.
exactly. So it's so cool to me that you're also into that because I haven't like picked out a business yet. He sent me some links to go pick out a business.
Okay, okay.
And, I'm just in the very, very beginning stages, but it sounds so appealing. So please tell me your journey. How did you go from the real estate side to shelving it into business acquisitions?
Yeah, it's so funny. I'm still baffling how it's crazy. Life is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it started with mindset, and I think that I've always had a strong mindset. I've always been very strong willed and determined. And joining, Pace's community, I felt that I've started to meet others of similar likening. And the idea of buying businesses was something that, for one, I mean, growing up in, lower middle class per se, or, average
Yeah.
middle class, like you never think that's even an option until, you get out there. So, um, I heard something one time Pace said, and I think it was either at a seminar or a call, whatnot. He said, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yes. So true.
And I took that to heart. So I started to read and research and, went to YouTube University and just kind of started
Yeah.
going down a rabbit hole and
Yep.
and started to learn that there was opportunity to do this. Now for me, I switched over because I felt that not to say I know everything about real estate investing by all
Oh,
means,
sure.
definitely not.
Yeah.
But I know a good chunk, and I know that will always be like I'll always be able to kind of come back to that. But the business acquisition space has always been interesting to me because I feel like I have a good set of skills to be able to provide and bring to any type of company that I end up acquiring
Yeah.
or supporting. So the notion of being able to buy businesses and support and grow businesses was very appealing to me.
Yeah.
And so I took that and just kind of ran with it. And so it's been about a year now, and I haven't had exactly the success that I want, but I've been on the journey that I could only imagine, So,
Yeah.
and Darren is actually a huge part of that, and being able to have another resource that I can kind of lean and leverage as far as like, questions, just given that I'm still relatively newer in this
Sure.
space.
Yeah.
But I mean, within a year, I feel like I've been able to support a lot of people, been able to analyze and see a lot of deals, and now I'm a part of Cody Sanchez's community, which
Are you really? That's
I'm
so
pretty sure
cool.
this is my last community. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm pretty sure this is my last community before I start my own community at some point.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. All
but
these investments we've made.
yeah, I think that. But this is the one But in that community, I think I was able to um I not necessarily prove to myself, but it was kind of in a sense prove to myself that I know a little bit more than I thought, and I'm able to kind of help and support others who are
Nice.
coming along this process as well. So I truly enjoy it because I think it's you have about a small percentage, so maybe 1% or 1% of people I think have two or more rental properties in our
Yeah.
country, right? Or maybe it's three or
That's
more. I can't
that's
remember.
all? Really? Wow.
Yeah, I think maybe it's three or more, 1%. But as far as businesses and buying businesses, it's less than 1% that do it.
Wow.
So I
Okay.
feel that I'm in the small of the small of the small group, and I feel like not everyone is able to do it or wanting to. Well, not I should say when it's are able to do it and willing to do it, which makes me want to do it.
Heck yeah. No, that's super appealing. I love how you laid that out for us. And I also loved where you said that growing up in like middle to lower income household, I did, same thing. My parents took us to Goodwill to shop for school clothes every year, as an example. So yeah, I never thought that I could own a business or much less buy one. So when Darren like opened my eyes to that just a few weeks ago, it was like, I can't unlearn that now. That's pretty cool. I can't wait to see where that takes me. So getting more detail, if you don't mind, have you found one that you are in the process of acquiring, or have you basically just been working with Darren and other people on deals, like as a transaction coordinator, or how have you been involved so far?
Yeah, so it's been a journey, and I feel like God has definitely been I don't want to say testing me per se, but I've been tested throughout this entire process.
Sure.
So the process of purchasing a business always sounds so great. And I think that on paper it's awesome. I think once you get to the finish line, it will be even better, right? But there's steps that you have to take. It's almost equivalent to sports. Like you
Yeah.
don't come in and just win the championship right away. Like there's losses that you have to take, heartbreaking losses. So I say all that to say, in my 1 year, I've had six under contract, which is, I mean, somewhat of a success, I would say,
That
right? I
sounds
mean,
huge.
yeah,
Six.
yeah, I've had six. Yeah, so six under contract.
Wow.
Um, but unfortunately, zero have been closed.
Okay.
So I say that to say because something's always happens like right before close. So it's either the seller backing out, it's either the seller changing their mind and taking it off the market. I've
Well,
had family medical issues. I've had seller medical issues.
okay.
And then two, as of recently, are two that I actually backed out. And
Oh,
I backed out because the seller was hesitant to provide some of the necessary documents that were needed,
yeah,
or
that's
ultimately
rude.
like the overall um, overview of, when I said the overall, you know, uh, evaluation. That's the word. Sorry, I couldn't think of
Yeah.
it.
No, it's
Overall
all good.
evaluation of the business wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be and what
Yeah.
they sold it to me. So I say that to say, like, I think there's growth through all that. And do I want to close one? Absolutely. And
Yeah.
Darren's been a part of the latter half, and it's we're working. So he does it. I'm sure he might explain it. His business is a specific business model, and I'm looking to kind of pair that with my business buying strategy in order to help close a deal. So
Yeah. Yeah, for
so
sure.
I think that we're close to actually probably two right now that potentially could make close, but I'm definitely enjoy this process.
Yeah. No, I'm actually really glad that you answered that way because it's not all sunshine and roses. And that was a real life example. It's almost sometimes it's almost disheartening watching YouTube University and seeing just win, 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 win after.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you never see the struggle stories hardly ever, and the near misses and on and on. So thank you for giving us I mean, you've been hustling it obviously to have 6 under contract in 1 year. And every single one of those, I can only imagine, was a roller coaster of emotions, time spent, pros and con lists, writing down does it make sense logically? Do I actually want this? On and on and on. So, wow, you've expended a lot of energy.
No, seriously, yeah. It's almost like so now it's most recent one that I have under contract. It's like okay, it's under contract. Like, but instead of I had to refine that joy, because
Yeah.
I think that it was without getting too deep, it was a message that I heard the other day service, and just to remind myself that like these are still big things, right? I think
Yeah.
sometimes we can bypass or overlook because oh I don't know if this one's gonna happen. I don't know, but no, to acknowledge that hey, this too is big. Let me
Yeah.
celebrate this one because there's a reason for all these, and there's a reason that that I'm continuing to grow and being able to share with others. I think at first I was kind of like, man, do I want to talk about this? Like, I feel like I keep failing and failing and failing, but no, I think it's important though. I think it is important
It is.
because like
Yeah.
there's hundreds of other people who out there like me who are just
Mhm.
trying to do it, just trying to make it, and they need to be able to hear this as well.
For sure. I mean, honestly, I'm grateful that I'm hearing it right now. Like, I had no idea what was before me if I pursue this. So now I have an idea, like it very well could be similar situation. And, do I have the mental and emotional fortitude to deal with that roller coaster right now? So that's, really, really nice that you gave everybody like a heads up.
Yeah,
Um,
it's yeah, definitely. Grit is needed for sure.
right, right. So curious, what kind of industries are you looking at? Are you looking at just the dollars, or are you looking at like, do the numbers make sense, or are you looking to do something that you're passionate about, or like, what's your criteria?
Great question. So I feel like that's always like one of the starter questions. Like I either get asked or like, or I ask someone else. And I think this has to start with what is your superpowers, right? That's like the new phrase now. Instead of like strengths and opportunities, like, and I think it's like superpowers now. I think that's what the corporate world uses. So you have to find out, you have to determine like what is it that you're good at, because it's one thing to purchase a business, right? Like you can walk through the steps, you can pass an interview, and you can get all your finances in order, and you can buy a business. Okay, so what are you going to do to grow it? Because
Hmm.
you always need to buy with an exit strategy in mind, and your exit strategy has to come from growing and scaling the business.
Hmm.
So I always like to say, okay, what is it that you feel like your skill sets are good at? And then the second one is going to have to be, okay, what are you somewhat passionate about? Are you looking to, buy a passion project? Are you looking to buy another job? Are you looking to partner with someone? So there's so many different avenues that you can take with that. And then, so, what are you good at? What is it that you're passionate about? And then finally, like most important, like the math has to match. So I do
Hmm.
look at the numbers. So
Yeah.
me personally, like I've been doing it for a little bit of time now. So I know like, okay, at this phase of life, I'm not really going after like restaurants. I'm not going after, I'm not going after companies to where like it was going to require me a full-time labor for a second job at this time,
No. Yeah, you
you
have
know,
a family to raise.
right, right. And I need something with a little bit, some form of flexibility. So like some of the businesses that I've been looking at are like, staffing and recruiting agencies, event planning agencies. If I do so, professional services, so like maybe like accounting firms or whatnot. In addition to that, like if I'm going to look at service-based businesses, a la like roofing companies or landscaping, cleaning, anything like that, I'm not opposed to it. It just needs to have the right model, and I need to have a plan in place. So that plan may include maybe partnering with someone on it who has a little bit more expertise. Because usually the service-based businesses, the returns are a little bit higher, because there's usually less cost of goods sold or expenses per se, so the
Yeah.
margin's a little bit greater. So yeah, so honestly, I look far and wide. because I do feel like I can bring, good level of leadership and skill sets to any type of business. It just needs to make sure it fills and checks some of the other boxes that I mentioned.
Nice, nice. I do appreciate that one thing you maybe what I would just knowing you for 10 minutes now, I would say your superpower could be confidence. I see you as confident, like, you're humble, but you're also confident where you're like, I'll figure it out. I have enough skill sets and enough knowledge and wisdom and life experience that I'll figure it out. Even if I have to bring in an expert on, subject matter expert and partner up with somebody, I can do it.
No, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think, I always tell people I worked for some pretty big name companies and been blessed to have some pretty, good positions. I
Mhm.
think all that kind of leading to where I am now and, you know, new area, new family, everything's just new and being able to make it through. I think that provides confidence and I am a man of faith and I believe that there's a higher power that's going to be to back me and show me right from wrong.
I love
And
that.
so, yeah, I truly appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I love also that you expressed that you're a man of faith because yeah, I'm the same way. I'm a Christian, and
Love it.
every single day my prayer is, please direct me, like direct my steps, direct my words, direct the thoughts
Hmm.
that are coming into my mind, direct my emotions, like lead me in every single way, please, because
Yep.
I don't know, I just yeah, we have to rely on Him. So that's
Said
so cool.
Proverbs 3:5, lean not to your own understanding in all your ways, acknowledge it. Like that's my go-to. Like I wake up and that's when I feel like I'm in a rut. That's what okay,
Yeah,
lean not to my own. So yeah,
right. Yeah, I love that. Oh, that's so cool. So okay, so you're still going after it, but you have your full-time job,
Mhm.
so you're not, like, feeling, like, desperate to get this, you're just taking your time to get the right deal.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, and that's exactly where I am. I think it's a tough thing because you can want something so bad, like right. So my very first business that I ever looked at, I had a seller interview 3 days later, and I had it under contract a day later. So this was around this time, well, about end of November, around Thanksgiving last year.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, oh, this is not too hard. This is easy, right? Like, so worked on that business back and forth with the seller. Me and my partners were back and forth talking every day, trying to hammer stuff out,
Yeah,
figure stuff out, the highs, the lows. That was about 3 months.
wow.
3 months of just focusing on that one.
Of courting
And
courting that company.
yeah, the stressors, the highs, the lows with that, and then
Yeah.
then he changes his mind and backs out. And then that happened with me again on a second one where we were getting ready to put together a master purchase agreement, um, or sorry, asset purchase agreement, and that was another 2.5 months that was just down the drain. So
Yeah,
a lot of good learnings.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely a lot of good learnings, and it's definitely something that moving forward, I know how to move and kind of operate a little bit different. And as I,
yeah,
share with others and help support others throughout their journey, like I share some of those things with them.
yeah, yeah. Well, and like you mentioned earlier, on one hand, maybe you've gone through 6, um, almost deals in order to, like, when you get your next one or when to not like get too excited right away because you've been through it already. So you're like, okay, yeah, it's under contract, yeah, yeah, yeah. But then, like you said, you're trying to balance with celebrate the wins,
Hmm.
celebrate the wins. But there's
Hmm.
this fine balance to find where you can keep the enthusiasm, be proud of yourself, but not get just emotionally roped into it and disappointed after, if it falls apart.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, I was always taught you got to count your blessings, right? And no matter what you think they may be, like you still want to make sure you count those as blessings. So they might seem small to you, but it could be big to someone else, or
Yeah.
it could be, there could be a reason why. Like it might
Yeah.
not be on my end, it might be on there's a
Their
reason why I
end.
don't get that on their end, right? And so it's one of those like, and it's one of those the more that you do it, and the more that you just kind of keep going through the process, like
Hmm.
you kind of find joy in the work,
Yeah.
right? You start to realize, okay, like I made it this far, like that didn't work, but it just proves to you that I can get to that point. and then you do it again, and then again, and then again, and then at some point the breakthrough will come. Um, but it's just, you just got to continue to keep pushing towards it, and just believe that it will happen.
For sure.
That's what I'm at right now. I'm just believing that it will happen. I'm not stopping. Like I go
Yeah.
stronger and harder than ever. Than each day. Like I got my
That's
little kids,
cool.
right? So that's my motivation.
Yeah, exactly. Is your long-term vision like to acquire multiple businesses?
But yeah. So the long term vision for me would be to, sounds cliche, but really to build an empire. So that doesn't necessarily mean I have to have 50 businesses or be a millionaire by any sorts. I just want to be in a position to where I can help empower and employ others.
Mm,
Be in a position to where like I can, leave
yeah,
a legacy for my family.
yeah.
Whether that's, business equity or that's actual, dollars in the bank per se. I just wanted to make sure that I'm in a position to do that. But most importantly, I want to be in a position to where I can help support and educate.
I love
Because
that.
coming from where I come from in the neighborhood and just growing up, like, you know, there's a lot of people who don't realize what can be done. So whether I make it or whether I set the stage for someone else, I just want to help, kind of push that along.
That's so cool. Okay, so you are an unofficial mentor of sorts. That's where your heart is. So, okay, I love that. Yeah. Well, your heart's in the right place, and I do believe too that when you do get your empire, it's just going to amplify who you are at your core and make
Thank you.
it so that you can be more generous and more helpful to more people. And that's a beautiful thing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Heck yeah. Um, did you want to talk about real estate at all, or is your focus just really on the?
No, let's talk. Let's talk. I'm not as plugged in as I've been, but we can definitely talk about it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, I don't know. I was just curious. Let's see. So you're TC certified. Here's a question. Did you have a hard time? I mean, you seem pretty well connected in the community now. I don't know how long have you been in the Pace Morby community?
Just about maybe a little over a little less than a year and a half.
Okay, so
So
pretty
not yeah, for a good amount of time, I guess, but not compared to others who've been there 3, 4 years, right?
right. Gotcha. Okay. Um, did you have a hard time breaking into any teams or getting involved in deals as a newer person? And if so, do you have any advice for people on that?
Yeah, certainly. So I think anytime, you join a community of this sorts and this large, uh, when you go about it solo, it is challenging. And it almost becomes a second job as far as like promoting and marketing yourself and, building those connections. And, so you do have to go to the meetups and what, assuming that you want to get to the level that you want to get to, like you do have to go to those meetups. You do have to hop on those calls. You do have to have those, ton of those one-off conversations. So yeah, it can be challenging. Like from a TC standpoint, I didn't do a ton of files.
Hmm.
It's one of those like I knew very similar to like I got my real estate license in California and then I got my license in Texas. And I did a couple open houses and I just knew like this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
so from a TC standpoint, like I love all the operator tasks. So, you know, I love being able to do that because I do that a lot in my daily job as like a program
The
project
full
manager.
set.
Yeah. So I have a very visionary mindset, but at the same time, I'm well equipped to do any type of like integrator type work. So, but from the TC standpoint, I ran into difficulties trying to get enough work
Yeah. Yeah.
because I mean, I don't know how things are moving as much anymore, but individually, like, you see a post and if you're not the first one to respond, somebody else is on there. So like, I couldn't be on the Facebook all the time replying to newbies asking for, so I
Yeah.
had to build those connections for other people to help kind of, market me for me.
Yeah.
So I think there was something to be said about that. And then, I didn't join a team. I wanted to build a team and, hindsight, maybe I do join a team, but I mean, at the time it was kind of like, nah, we're just out here trying to get it. So,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, and I asked that question for my own sake because I'm kind of in the same boat. I've only been with the community a matter of months, and yeah, it can be a little bit challenging to kind of get your foot in the door. You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
I was just kind of curious if you had a similar situation with that. But yeah, obviously you were successful at making connections because look where you are now.
Yeah.
Darren is mentoring you. Heather's giving you a shout out. So yeah, you did a great job, and that's inspirational to know.
Thank you. Yes, and you start meeting the right connections, right? I think the right connections that fit you and that will grow with you, and yeah, that's
Yeah,
all that matters.
yeah. One of my favorite connections as of late was Lance Riggin.
Oh, Mr. Lance, everybody loves Lance. So
He's fun. He's so
he is
fun.
fun.
Yeah,
He's good,
we
good
did it.
energy.
We did a podcast together, and it started sounding like a Joe Rogan show.
Yeah, we've interacted, a few times here. I don't know him like super well, but enough to where like we see each other, say what's up, and
Yeah.
he's right up the road in Tyler, Texas, actually.
Cool. Okay, not too far from you then.
Nah, he's only about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe 2 hours away.
That's so cool. Yeah, no, he's really awesome. So yeah, an example of just making a really cool connection for sure. But well, is there anything that you maybe had in mind that you wanted to talk about that I haven't touched on or asked?
No, I think this was cool because we hadn't really spoken much before this, and there was something to be said that I kind of like that, and it was just very just genuine and open. So
Yeah.
no, I just want to say I thank you again for allowing me on your platform and being able to kind of just share and just talk.
Yeah.
I don't take those things for granted, as I always feel like there's thousands and millions of people you could talk to, and you chose to speak to me. So I'm really blessed and truly thankful for that. And no, I'll just say anyone that's listening to this that needs support and looking to buy businesses and looking to, partner with, learn to get businesses, like I'm here and would love to work with you.
That's so cool. Yeah. Well, and thank you for being willing to come on a podcast without even having had a conversation with me also. That says a lot about you that you're like a yes guy, you'll just say yes. And that's so cool. Um,
Uh,
and yeah, how can people easily connect with you?
yeah, so I am in the process of revamping actually my own podcast. So it's going to be called it's called Cerebral Pundits. So I'll have to give you that information.
Well,
Me and Avita Miller, another TC.
Vita, I did a
Yeah, so
podcast with her too.
me and Avita I think we're in our we're in like I think episode 4 or 5, but
Cool.
we got a podcast rolling out, so we'll have to get you the link to that to come check that out.
Heck yeah.
And then also social media. So best BEST case KASE.
Okay.
Yeah, this best case, or just search my name. I'm pretty open. Kasey Blueford, pretty open on all platforms. So not like
Okay,
I got a
cool.
ton of followers. But yeah, definitely, I'd be happy to chat with anyone, and yeah, I love being able to give back.
Yeah. Well, and if you are a baby boomer who wants to retire and has a business for sale,
Hey, there we go.
you know somebody that
There we go.
is hungry for a good deal and can help take it over. So there you go.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much,
Well,
Sarah.
this has been really fun. Thank you as well. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night.
Thank you. You too. Have a good one.
Thanks.